All day. It's been all day with him.
What did I do?
Aaron, go Brawlers.
Later, guys.
Wow, look at that.
Thank you.
YouTube.com/sound.
Hey, what's up, Legion? My name is Sal, and this is another Expedition Log. I hope all of you can tuck into a nice hot meal this Thanksgiving, but for those of you spending the day alone, I'm right here to keep you company. Today we're getting soaked in neon at a Rouse Mall that has no anchors left. I'd like to quickly thank my elite explorers who support me on Patreon and through Super Chats. Your donations made this trip possible. And at the end of this video, if you dig my content, please consider subscribing and following me on social media and my Discord server. Links for everything are down below. This mall is a rare neon wonderland. And these days, the neon is mostly extinct at this place. In this episode, if you're not all too wiped out with itis from the turkey and tryptophan, I'd like you all to come take a walk with me and Jowdy in our St. Paddy's Day 2019 visit to the Eastfield Mall in Springfield, Massachusetts. But first, a word from our sponsors. The WBZ Newsroom finale and the Eastfield Mall television spot from the 90s. Enjoy.
Like fine wine, WBZ TV gets better over time. You know the line about we will sell no wine before it's time? Well, this one doesn't seem to go by that philosophy. Wine you can depend on. And it's called WBZ. And it's the finest of them all.
I guess I'm not going to get it, so maybe I ought to walk in through the time warp here and just disappear. Well, let's go right to, well, too late. Here's a satellite picture. See the clouds? They went away. Now here's the clear sky. Oh, don't gotta get my hands caught in there. Let's take another look at that West Coast situation. At this time, we see, hello, Liv! Hello, Liv! That is our West Coast reporter, Liz Walker. Come in, Liz Walker.
It has been an absolutely, would you mind getting over here? Listen to what I have to say, it may be interesting.
How much longer will this heat last? And for the answer, let's go to Bruce.
Well, the answer is, well, first of all, let me choose a place here. Where do you want to put the blanket? Come on over here, honey, come on. There's nobody on the beach. What's going on?
We're out here and we'll be reporting in tonight at 11, listen, Jack.
Hey, John, you standing on a chair? The cost increase that could be passed on to consumers is a 6.8% tariff imposed today by Canadian fish by the Commerce Department. Liz?
In business news.
Darn Canadian fish.
Yes, like fine wine, WBZ TV4 keeps improving with time. BZ is the toast of the Boston market. Our cup, most definitely, runneth over. Here's looking at you. Cheers.
Here's to you, party it up. Love you.
To a job well done. To the world's greatest.
Excuse me, what are you shopping for this holiday season?
I'm here for a gift.
Well, you're in the right place. With over 90 great stores and restaurants, Eastfield Mall's got just what you need, all on one easy shopping level.
One level.
Parking's a breeze. It's just what we need. It's just
what we need.
It's really simple.
Eastfield Mall.
It's the perfect holiday mall.
It's just what I need.
I need a husband.
Well, just about everything you need for the holidays and for the stores you really shop. Eastfield Mall, Springfield.
Welcome to the Eastfield Mall on St. Paddy's Day, 2019. When Jowdy and I got here, the place was mobbed due to some wrestling event that was happening in the food court, which you'll see shortly. Filming was on hard mode, with way too many security guards looming over us, so after we walk around the mall for a bit, we're gonna stop and grab a bite to eat. Let the crowds die down a bit, and then pick the video tour back up again when it gets dark so we can really appreciate all of the incredible neon. But the story of the Eastfield Mall goes deep. So let's dig into the historical narrative. On Tuesday, November 22, 1966, the Rouse Company announced that they would be constructing their 10th mall in Springfield, Massachusetts. The new enclosed mall would be L-shaped and would connect a Sears, which had opened earlier that year on March 16, to a new Forbes and Wallace department store, for which construction had already begun. Rouse then secured an additional $6 million in funding from the Connecticut General Life Insurance Company for their new Springfield shopping mall project, which was estimated to cost about $14 million. The mall was designed by architectural firm Daverman & Associates of Grand Rapids, Michigan, and would feature fountains, kiosks, aviaries, and tropical plants with a constant interior temperature of 72 degrees. After about a year of construction, the Eastfield Mall had its official grand opening and ribbon-cutting dedication on the morning of Monday, April 1, 1968, with the existing Sears and a new Forbes and Wallace serving as senior anchors. Then, 4 months after the mall's dedication, a Steiger's department store opened as the third senior anchor on August 1, 1968. The Eastfield Mall Cinema had its opening attraction at 2 p.m. on Christmas Day of 1968, showing The Impossible Years, starring David Niven in Technicolor. Tickets were 75 cents each. Moving into the 1970s, the Eastfield Mall would see its first anchor change-up when the Forbes and Wallace closed on August 7, 1976. Then 1 month later, the Eastfield Mall Cinema would close for renovations in September of 1976 and reopened, now twinned, as the Eastfield Mall Cinemas by October 27, showing The Ritz and A Matter of Time. At the time, Massachusetts blue laws restricted most tenants from opening on Sundays, which in turn meant that the Eastfield Mall was only open 6 days a week. However, on November 28, 1976, Eastfield began an experiment to open the mall on Sundays for the stores that were allowed to open on that day, to give them a chance to test business on what was traditionally the day of rest. The program stuck, and the blue laws would eventually loosen up over the years, and the mall would stay open 7 days a week. In an article written on Friday, August 5, 1977, in the Holyoke Transcript Telegram, it was announced that JCPenney would be discontinuing its 7-year-old supermarket business. They had 28 supermarkets open in their Treasury discount stores, and 3 open in their Penny stores. Alongside this announcement, a statement was also released that a new JCPenney would be opening at the Eastfield Mall, and 5 days later, their grand opening and ribbon-cutting ceremony was celebrated, filling the vacancy at the former Forbes and Wallace space on August 10, 1977. And the space that we're in right now is where JCPenney used to be. By 1978, the mall would celebrate being 100% occupied for the first time. As the mall entered the 1980s, occupancy was still full, and all anchors were accounted for. Eastfield really never had any serious competition in other malls through the years, but I can't help but mention the 2 nearby competitors at the time, which were the Fairfield Mall in Chicopee, built in 1974, and the Holyoke Mall, about 8 miles north in Holyoke, built in 1979. And just as a quick aside, I feel like I have to point out that the daytime footage that you're seeing right now, the neon doesn't look so great. It's pretty cool, but make sure you stick around till the end of the episode. The second half of this piece showcases the mall at night, and the neon just looks luscious. Nighttime footage is coming, and it's rad. By September of 1985, the Eastfield Mall cinemas had ceased operations, but about 4 months later, on January 22, 1986, a $5 million expansion project kicked off at the mall, which would see demolition of the now closed movie theater to build a brand new 14-stall food court called the Market Shed. The food court was designed to showcase the historic role of the tobacco industry in Massachusetts' Pioneer Valley region. In addition to the food court, the project would include a 60-foot concourse, updates to the floor, new planters and skylights, and the introduction of quadratic blue neon lights on the ceiling throughout the mall. The renovations were completed about 9 months later, by October 2, 1986, when the mall celebrated its rededication. Entering the 1990s, the Eastfield Mall was still doing pretty well, but another of its original anchors, Steiger's, was sinking. In the late 80s, they were seeing annual sales of about $80 million a year. But the chain lost $525,000 in 1992 and over $1.3 million in the first 6 months of 1993 alone. Conversely, the May Company made $603 million in profits in 1993 on sales of $10.5 billion. As such, they were looking to expand into the New England markets, and as part of this expansion, the May Company purchased 6 stores from the Albert Steiger Company, and the remaining 4 Steigers were liquidated and shuttered. May would transfer 2 of the former Steigers to mall developers, but they were set to spend $30 million renovating the other 4. 3 of the locations would receive expansions and a Lord & Taylor masthead. But the Eastfield Mall location wouldn't be expanded, and it was converted to a Filene's, which celebrated its grand opening on November 9, 1994. By March 4, 1998, the Rouse Company held the grand opening for the Oviedo Mall in Florida, which would be the last mall they would develop. At this point, they were winding down their mall operations, and 1 month after opening their mall in Oviedo, Rouse sold the Eastfield Mall on April 9, 1998 to West Paterson, New Jersey-based Mountain Development Corp. The selling price wasn't announced, but at the time, Eastfield was assessed at a value of $20 million, and Rouse's malls were doing pretty well at this point, so if I had to guess, Eastfield Mall sold for well above its assessed property value. Shortly after Mountain acquired the Eastfield Mall, they announced plans to open a brand new megaplex cinema. Work began in March of 1999, and construction took about 4 months, with Showcase Cinema's Eastfield Mall 16 opening on August 22, bringing the mall to 825,000 square feet.
June. Oh, you want to eat something? You want to eat something at the restaurant here? Get like some appetizers and a beer or whatever? And like bide our time until it's dark? Open seating at the bar? Yes, yeah, it is. Are these two somebody sitting here?
Nope.
Awesome. All day. It's been all day with him.
What did I do?
All day.
What did I... you know what? He's mad because I gave him, per Jeff's insistence, I gave him a drink that he really ended up hating, and that drink is called Moxie.
Moxie.
It's the worst soda known to man.
I still taste it. You know that? I need a beer. That was disgusting. That was absolutely disgusting.
Check this out. It's St. Patty's Day. We have a green beer at the 99 bar, and alongside the beer they serve popcorn. But the best thing of all is this man right here.
Happy St. Patty's Day.
Happy, you have to do the left-handed fist bump. Boom.
Aaron Gobrales.
Later, guys. Wow, look at that.
Thank you.
Are you guys getting any dinner?
We'll get some food. Yeah, we'll get some. We're gonna hang out for a second.
Yeah, take as much time as you need.
Yeah.
I'm actually not too hungry.
Neither am I. Skull. Oh. Oof.
Cheers.
We also have our St. Patrick's Day menu.
Could you just throw a few napkins my way?
Absolutely. Not even joking. That's our regular size.
They don't have like an extra plate, like a baby's first buffalo wing starter set.
No.
Wow, that's a heaping help. Well, you're certainly getting your money's worth, but ooh, that's a heaping
Absolutely.
help.
And then
It's
if you
probably
come
weird if you're a customer.
Monday through Friday, from 3 to 6 and 8 to close, you get Jack for $5.
You've probably never heard a customer complain about giving too much food.
Never.
I'm just like, how am I gonna put this away?
Easy. You eat what you want and take the rest home. You got yourself a nice little snack for later.
Eastfield stepped proudly into the new millennium at a respectful 90% occupancy and a full anchor lineup with a shiny new 16-screen movie theater bringing a stream of healthy traffic to the neon-clad mall. Between 2003 and 2005, the last 3 malls ever to be built in the United States were in development. Pittsburgh Mills opened in 2005, but the Mills Meadowlands project, titled Xanadu, wouldn't be completed until 2020, renamed the American Dream Mall. Taubman began working on a mall in Sarasota in 2004, which would take 10 years to complete, seeing the mall at University Town Center opened in 2014. When these last three malls began development in the early 2000s, malls were having their last moment. The last years where malls were truly the great social gathering place for teens. In 2005, of the country's 1,100 or so malls, teenagers were still flocking to the concourses just to hang out and socialize. Mall of America was the first to act on this trend, introducing a parental escort rule back in 1996. But these policies were gaining traction into the 2000s, and Mountain Development implemented a teen escort policy of their own at Eastfield Mall on September 6, 2005. The rule was stricter than most, and every day the mall was open, any child under the age of 15 would need a parent accompanying them from 5 p.m. until close. Mountain responded to backlash from these policies, saying, quote, "The policy wasn't prompted by a rise in shoplifting or fights among young people. Parents have dropped their kids off and left them on their own for 3-4 hours at a time. It's more of a child protection issue," close quote. Needless to say, this move pissed off the mall brats, and many of them boycotted Eastfield and other malls that instituted policies like this. Now, I have strong opinions on why malls died. My opinion is firm, and it's based in the facts that I've uncovered over the last 112 episodes in this series. The answer is nuanced, and it's not black and white, and it's most certainly not as simple as the internet killed the malls or Amazon killed all the malls. But this is another ingredient in the recipe of the mall's death. Kicking teenagers out of malls at the exact moment that the internet was becoming sentient and mature probably wasn't the best move. And kicking kids out of malls just pushed them towards the internet, and it definitely contributed to their demise in the later 2000s. On February 28, 2005, the May Department Stores Company was acquired by Federated Department Stores for $11 billion. The sale included 11 department store chains, such as Kaufmann's, Hecht's, and Filene's. On July 28 of the same year, Federated announced that they would be converting 330 of their newly acquired department stores over to a Macy's nameplate. Then on August 10, due to declining sales, the JCPenney at Eastfield had been downgraded to an outlet store, but would remain open for the time being. 1 year later, the Macy's at Eastfield saw its grand opening on September 9, 2006. Around the time Macy's opened, the mall did have healthy occupancy, but it wasn't full, which it hadn't been since the early 80s. Later in 2006, a large space was cleared out along the concourse leading to JCPenney, removing multiple shuttered storefronts to make way for a Steve & Barry's Sportswear. The same thing was done along the Sears concourse, which saw the opening of an Old Navy, and these two were considered junior anchors, at least on the mall directory. By 2008, Steve & Barry's had been battling in bankruptcy court, but would ultimately liquidate and close all locations. After the Eastfield Mall location shuttered, Hanush Jewelers moved their headquarters into the former Steve & Barry's spot in 2009. It's actually a really cool place with a manufacturing area that you can look in on to watch them crafting their jewelry, and interactive workshops where you can handle the wax molds that they use to make the jewelry, and you can even make some of your own. They wanted to bring more interactive things to the mall, and this was the approach that Eastfield management chose, and I think it was pretty smart. The Showcase cinema chain was purchased by Dallas-based Rave Motion Pictures in January of 2010, and later that year, the Eastfield Mall Cinema was rebranded as Rave Motion Pictures. Then in January of 2011, JCPenney issued a statement that they would be closing all 19 of their outlet stores, including the location at the Eastfield Mall, which closed later that year after liquidation, leaving the mall without one of its senior anchors for the first time in decades. On July 18, 2013, Cinemark Cinemas acquired Rave Motion Pictures, but they chose to keep the Rave branding at the Eastfield Mall Theater. 3 years later, on January 6, 2016, Macy's announced that 36 locations would be closing across the country, and the Eastfield Mall Macy's shuttered after a brief liquidation sale in April of that year, leaving Eastfield now down to Sears as its sole senior anchor. But 2 years after Macy's closed, It was announced on May 31, 2018 that Sears would be closing 78 stores, of which the Eastfield Mall location was included, and it shuttered a few months later on September 2, now leaving the mall with no senior anchors. I showed up the following year on St. Paddy's Day 2019 with Jowdy to film the footage you've been watching. There was that same electricity flowing through the mall that I felt at Berkshire and Swansea malls. The locals were here to enjoy their mall and whatever that wrestling event that was going on, and I could feel the energy in the air. But after my visit, the mall would close during the COVID lockdown, reopening some months later. As a result of the pandemic, Cinemark chose not to reopen their cinema, announcing that it was permanently closed in June of 2020. Further, they trashed the cinema screens and dumped the gear in an orchestrated effort to ensure that future theater operators would have a difficult time getting the cinema back up and running. That was a scumbag move.
I'm gonna go now because I'm about to drown in all this gorgeous neon. I wish they didn't get rid of it, but I'm gonna go make a second plate of Thanksgiving food because I'm fat and starving. Bye!
So back on January 25 of 2020, I sent out a tweet that said the Eastfield Mall was removing their neon from the mall, and that there were rumors that the neon tubes were leaking Freon into the mall, which was why they had to remove them. Now, I also read from the Eastfield Mall that it was just becoming too expensive to maintain these tubes. I'm not exactly sure which one of these are true, but what is true is that they did remove all of the neon except for a few of them. On Eastfield Mall's Facebook page, they did confirm that they have what they call a throwback corner. And I did ask them if they could confirm where this was, but they never got back to me. And I do believe that it's where we're at right now. And I think they also put up brick to close off the entrance of the former JCPenney. So where we're at right now, you still can see some blue neon if you wanted to visit. As of the publication of this video, now in November of 2022, the former movie theater is now occupied by the Springfield District Court. Macy's is occupied by a company called Curative that offers vaccines. Sears and JCPenney are both still vacant. While there were a good number of inline tenants when I filmed in 2019, I would like to hear from locals and those of you that visit this mall regularly. A mall that's got no formal senior anchors, with a lack of inline tenants, surely identifies as a dead mall, in my opinion. But management here really is doing a great job keeping this place afloat. Their social media presence is incredible, and people really do tend to dig this mall. So I'd love for you locals to let me know exactly how this place is currently doing. Let me know down in my comments or on my social media or my Discord server. Links for everything are down below. Today, on Thanksgiving of 2022, I'm thankful for all of you sticking with me for the last 5 years, and especially to those who support my efforts directly through Patreon and through super chats and donations of the like. I really do think it's important to preserve the history of the American shopping mall, given that right now there's under 700 of them left in the country, down from about 2,500 in the 1980s. Multiple news outlets are reporting that within just 10 years, there will only be about 150 of them left. So it's imperative that we continue to document these places before they're gone forever. If you're still with me at this point in the episode and you've not yet subbed to my channel, you might as well just do it. Subscribe, ring the bell. I'm also on Instagram, Twitter for as long as that lasts, Facebook, and Counter Social. But the most direct way to get in touch with me is on my Discord server, home of DMod. Links for all of my social media are in my description below. I'll be back with ExLog 113 soon, but until then, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Please take care of yourselves and have a fantastic day.
Like fine wine, WBZ TV gets better over time. You know the line about we will sell no wine before it's time? Well, this one doesn't seem to go by that philosophy. A wine you can depend on. And it's called WBZ. And it's the finest of them all.
I guess I'm not going to get it, so maybe I ought to walk in through the time warp here and just disappear. Well, let's go right to, well, too late. Here's a satellite picture. See the clouds? They went away. Now here's the clear sky. Oh, don't gotta get my hands caught in there. Let's take another look at that West Coast situation. At this time, we see, hello, Liv! Hello, Liv! That is our West Coast reporter, Liz Walker. Come in, Liz Walker.
It has been an absolutely, would you mind getting over here? Listen to what I have to say, it may be interesting.
How much longer will this heat last? And for the answer, let's go to Bruce.
Well, the answer is, well, first of all, let me choose a place here. Where do you want to put the blanket? Come on over here, honey, come on. There's nobody on the beach. What's going on?
We're out here and we'll be reporting in tonight at 11, isn't Jack?
Hey, John, you standing on a chair? Another cost increase that could be passed on to consumers is a 6.8% tariff imposed today by Canadian fish by the Commerce Department. Liz?
In business news.
Darn Canadian fish.
Yes, like fine wine, WBZ TV4 keeps improving with time. BZ is the toast of the Boston market. Our cup, most definitely, runneth over. Here's looking at you. Cheers.
Here's to you, party it up. Love you. To a job well done. To the world's greatest.
Excuse me, what are you shopping for this holiday season?
I'm here for a gift.
Well, you're in the right place. With over 90 great stores and restaurants, Eastfield Mall's got just what you need, all on one easy shopping level.
One level.
Parking's a breeze. It's just what we need. It's just
What we need?
It's really simple.
Eastfield Mall.
It's the perfect holiday mall.
It's just what I need.
I need a husband.
Well, just about everything you need for the holidays and for the stores you really shop. Eastfield Mall, bring to you.